Hello everyone, this is Raghu, and today I'm going to illustrate about the insertion sort using a PowerPoint presentation and the YouTube screen capture of the same. So to begin with, let us consider the pseudocode for the insertion sort, and let's see what we are going to do in brief. We'll be considering an array A of n elements and the variable I, which will be used for the for loop, will be assigned from 2 to the number n, I mean number of elements in the array. We'll also be assigning the variable key, which will be equal to ai, and this variable key will be used to store the element under consideration, I mean comparison, temporarily. And another variable we're going to use is j, whose value will be I minus 1. And we'll be using another loop, which will be a while loop with conditions j should be greater than 0 and aj should be greater than key. And inside the while loop, we'll be comparing as well as switching the element that is under consideration at that particular moment in the program. And also we'll be decreasing the value of j by 1 and again going up to the while loop and comparing conditions. So outside the while loop, what we are going to do is we'll be assigning the value of key to a j plus 1. So let's begin. And yes, this pseudocode is to sort the numbers in the array in ascending order. All right, so let's begin. So let's take the number of elements as 4 and let 30, 10, 40, and 20 be the numbers in the array respectively. So first of all, the value of I becomes 2, and accordingly all the values, I mean for the key z and aj plus 1 will be assigned. So the initial values for all the variables will be like I will be equal to 2, j equals to 1, aj equals to 30, and aj plus 1 equals to 10, which we can see right here as well. And the value of key becomes 10. So moving on to the while loop, we'll be checking the two conditions. The first one is j should be greater than 0, which is true here as j equals to 1. And aj should be greater than key, which is also true here since aj equals to 30 and key equals to 10. So we move inside the while loop. So inside the while loop, we are going to assign the value of aj to aj plus 1. So the condition here, the second condition for the while loop, which says aj should be greater than key. This this basically compares the two elements in the array and makes sure that after the execution of the while loop, they are in the ascending order. Like here, the second element key, the second element of the array, which is 10, is already assigned to the key. And here after this comparison, we are sure that aj is greater than key. So as we are trying to sort the numbers in ascending order, what this statement does, which is the statement inside the while loop does, is it basically switches the position of these two elements right here. So value of aj, that is 30, is assigned to aj plus 1, and it becomes Uh, so aj is 30 and aj plus 1 also becomes 30. Now after that, the value of j, which is 1, is decreased by 1. Now it is equals to 0, and we move up to the while loop again and compare the conditions. I mean, check the conditions again. Since the value of j is already 0, the first condition is not satisfied, so we move out of the while loop. And here, the value of key, is assigned to aj plus 1. So this completes the switching process of these two elements right here. So the value of aj plus 1 becomes 10 now. Now we again move on to the for loop and increase the value of I by 1. So I equals to 30 now. So accordingly, the value of k is the value of key is A3, which is equals to 40 now. And value of j is 2. And we check the conditions for the while loop. J should be greater than 0, which is true. But aj should be greater than 0. Now here aj equals to 30 and key equals to 40. This condition is not satisfied. So we never go inside the while loop and execute the statement just outside the while loop, which says that the value of key is assigned to j plus 1. So the j plus 1 becomes 40. Uh, and here the j plus 1, aj plus 1 is a3, which is 40 now. Now we again move on to the for loop with the value of I increased by 1, which is equals to 4 now. And accordingly, key becomes 20 and j equals to 3. So aj equals to 40 and aj plus 1 equals to 20. Now we again check the conditions for the while loop. The first condition is that j should be greater than 0, which is true, and the second condition is that aj should be greater than key, which is also true because aj equals to 40 and key equals to 20. So we move inside the while loop, and inside the while loop, the value of aj again is assigned to aj plus 1. So aj plus 1 becomes 40 now. We can see the changes over here as well as on the assignment table right here. So after that, what happens is the value of j is decreased by 1. So j becomes 2 now, and accordingly aj equals to 30. So we move on with the condition check for the while loop again. And here j should be greater than 0, which is true. And aj, which is 30, is greater than key, which is 20, which is again true. So the value of aj is assigned to aj plus 1. So aj plus 1 becomes 30 as well. Now we move on to the next step inside the while loop, which is decreasing the value of j by 1. So j becomes 1 now, and again check the two conditions for the while loop. J should be greater than 0, which is true, and aj should be greater than key, which is not true. As we can see here, aj, which is equals to 10, is actually smaller than key, which is equals to 20. So this condition is not satisfied, so we just move out of the while loop. And outside the while loop, we are again assigning the value of key, which is equals to 20, to aj plus 1. So aj plus 1 becomes 20. So after this, we again move on to the for loop, but since the value for I should be between 2 to n, and we have already reached the value for I equals to n, so this whole for loop and all these sequence of statements will no longer execute, and we have come to the end of the insertion sort pseudocode. So right here, we can see that the array of the numbers, which was in a random order in the beginning, has already been sorted into the ascending order. So this shows how the insertion sort works. And at the end, uh, what I would like to say is that insertion sort is also considered more efficient than the bubble sort as well as selection sort. So thank you very much.